Hey folks, this is Kalani. With the huge experience bonus that's active for the next month and a lot of people not having much else to really do, it looks like a lot of alts are going to get leveled up right now. Whether you're finishing off your alt army left over from Legion, or you're just playing about with a few characters that you've always wanted to try out but couldn't be bothered to actually level, you're going to need to get them caught up when you hit level 120 if you want to play them in the current content. So let's have a look at how you can catch up your alts quickly in patch 8.3. The first thing you're going to need to do is level up. The current experience bonus is going to make this a lot faster than usual. Just remember to pick up your heirlooms and everything else to speed your way to 120. Quests are incredibly quick, dungeon spamming is still awesome, things like time walking events when they're up can give you a good boost and change things up too. Whichever way you choose to level, getting to 120 is the first step in getting your alts ready. When you ding 120, there's two things that you'll need to do right away. The first is go unlock your world quests. Assuming this is an alt, you'll just have to talk to the chap who handles your war campaign on your war campaign boat. He should have an orange exclamation mark to make him very easy to find. Talk to him, finish the quest, and you'll unlock world quests. If you don't do this, you'll never have access to world quests, but that's not even the important part. If you don't do this, you can't really do anything else. No one else will talk to you, you can't pick up other quest lines for 8.2 or 8.3, so if you can't progress in the story at all, this is probably why. Go get this done first. The second thing you'll need to do is work through the start of the Nazjatar questline. I know, it's not patch 8.3 content, it's all old and outdated, but sadly the Heart of Azeroth essences are locked behind this little portion of questing, and that's another thing you can't really do anything without. Not only do essences provide you with a crazy performance increase and some extra buttons, but you actually can't start any of the patch 8.3 questline until you have them unlocked. Don't worry about your Heart of Azeroth level at this point either. When you unlock your essences, your heart will skip straight to level 50, so any Azerite you farm before getting your essences is actually a waste of time. So you need to get through the Nazjatar intro up until you find your base of operations, and you'll know when you've gone far enough because Magni will pop out of the ground to say hi. That's all you need to do in Naz. So start Magni's quests from here, go to the Chamber of the Heart, do everything you need to do in High Mountain, pop back to Magni, and unlock the Heart Forge and the entire Essence system. When he tells you to go back to Nazjatar, you can politely tell him to shove his Naga where the sun don't shine, and head back to the main BfA hub, where you should get the quest to start patch 8.3's content. You can go back to Nazjatar if you really want, but that's not where the fun stuff is. That's all the old patch stuff you need to catch up on. From here on out, it's just patch 8.3 features. It's not a bad idea to look into some of the faster gearing up options at this point. Patch 8.3 monsters can hurt a lot, or just take forever to kill for a really poorly geared alt, but there are some amazing gearing options that take just a few minutes to look into. The first is bind on account gear from taking part in the assaults on any of your other characters. The corrupted BoA tokens will turn into 410 item level gear to give you a huge boost on your leveling gear, or any gear you had before like heirlooms. Most of this stuff was over 100 item levels above my hunter's gear at this point, and let me tell you, that gear boost will definitely make a difference while you're trying to work through the other stuff you need to get done. Anything that requires killing will go so much faster if you get just a little bit of gear, so check out other characters for any tokens that'll be useful to this new alt. I didn't have a full set of male tokens sadly, but there are some other quick gearing options on the table. If any of the weekly events are active that have a gear vendor tied to them, like time walking, that's another fantastic source of easy gear. The location will depend on the actual event, so just bear that in mind. The last time walking we had was Wrath of the Lich King, so I went over to Old Dalaran to see what other holes I could patch up in my gear. The time walking gear is ridiculously cheap, so almost every character that goes through at least one of these events will have more than enough tokens for some gear. I managed to get 2 rings and a trinket, which really helped my item level along. A super quick way to see if any item is going to be an upgrade is to just hold shift while hovering over the item. That will compare it to the gear you have equipped, and anything that is an item level upgrade I would just buy up at this point. Item level will be incredibly important for other gearing up methods later. And if all else fails, if nothing is active and you don't have any BoA gear, and you have a bit of gold to spend, you can also check the auction house. Almost every slot has a piece of crafted gear at item level 400 that you can buy from the auction house or from other players. These will differ in prices a lot depending on the piece and depending on your server, but it seems like I could get most of the items that I would want for 1 to 2k gold. That's not too bad. You can also check the rings and trinkets to see if you can get any upgrades for your leftover low item level pieces of gear. Even a 50 item level increase will be huge, so look at the greens and old crafted gear too. Obviously don't bother with any cloaks, that slot will be covered for the rest of the expansion on any character, and don't worry about gear too much at this point in general. Just grab as much as you can from these quick sources. I went from item level 307 to item level 380 in about 15 minutes, so it's definitely worth it. The most important thing for you to do relating to patch 8.3 is unlock and obtain your legendary cloak. You can't do visions without it, you can't do assaults or take part in the 2 new zones without it, you can't really use any corrupted gear without it, and you can't even do some of the raid bosses without it. You absolutely need your cloak on any alts you want to play, which is a bit annoying because it can take a couple of hours. Thankfully you can skip a few sections, some of the long sections too, so whenever you start a new quest be sure to talk to Magni or whoever is leading that section again to check for a skip. I think it's one of the first scenarios with Magni that you can skip, and then the scenario which takes you to the Titan facilities in Pandaria. Skipping those will save you a bunch of time. Part of the unlock process will take you through the assaults in both zones too, and you can get some pretty decent gear from those boxes, so you might hit 2 birds with 1 stone. After you've gone through all the back and forth, cleared out the halls of origination for your umpteenth time, and reclaimed the scales of Rathian's brood, he will finally give you your legendary cloak. That cloak will give you a massive item level boost too, and save you from ever needing to find another cloak for the rest of the expansion. You'll still want to finish off all the other quests in the 8.3 intro questline though. They open up horrific visions, which will be an amazing source of gear, and the rest of 8.3 system like the Titan Archive and minor visions. At this point you're all caught up with the features, all that's left to do is hop on the same progression and gear treadmill as everyone else. For personal progression you should get your cloak ranked up so you can do more horrific visions and clear further into them. Remember, you get gear for the main objective, another piece for the main objective plus 2 bonus objectives, and another piece of gear for the main objective plus 4 bonus objectives, which is also a full clear. When you can get a full clear done on your alt, you'll be able to receive a 445 item level piece of gear, a 430 item level piece of gear, and a 420 piece of gear all in the same week, and they will all be corrupted. Corruption will always be huge for the rest of this expansion, so horrific visions will always be the best source of gear right now. The further you can go, the better the gear your alts will get, eventually getting 470 item level pieces of gear if you can full clear with 5 masks. That's obviously at the point where your alt is pretty serious though, so if you just want a full clear, a 445 really good corrupted item can be your best piece of gear anyway. For some other easy sources of gear for alts, you should always get the world boss done in Uldum or the Vale. Those bosses can drop 445 loot and it takes less than 5 minutes. You won't always get lucky, but the potential rewards for time invested is really good. And then you can also look at world quests and emissaries. World quests can reward gear up to item level 430, so they can still fill in some gaps pretty well. I still needed some better Azerite shoulders and another trinket quite badly to up my item level. Luckily, both of those slots are being covered by world quests, so I went and got those quick upgrades, and then 2 emissaries also rewarded gear. One was a piece of Azerite gear, and the other was a random piece of gear. Both of these turned out to be semi-decent upgrades, and all of this took maybe 30 minutes, and left me at item level 427. Getting past this point is going to take more time and effort, but you can keep checking your emissaries. They can reward up to item level 445 gear and Azerite right now, so the better gear you get, the better rewards they can offer. Assaults can reward you with some good gear, so keep doing those, and you'll want to do them to get into horrific visions, and horrific visions are awesome for gear right now too. Apart from that, it's the same dungeon or raid grind. Work your way up through Mythic Plus, or go from LFR to normal to heroic, and hope for the good loot. Another massive system that you want to catch up with, not related to gear, is the Heart of Azeroth essences. This used to be a huge pain in the rear because you'd have to do it all over again for every alt and every essence that you wanted, but no more. There's a new currency in town called the Echoes of Nyalotha, And the good news is that if you've been doing pretty much anything in this video so far, you'll already have quite a few echoes. They come from horrific visions, from assaults, from emissary quests, from raid bosses, from Mythic Plus. Pretty much any content in patch 8.3. You'll need 500 echoes to buy a rank 3 essence from Mother in the Chamber of the Heart, so save them up and you'll be able to skip over any and all essence grinds that you want. If you do just a horrific vision and the 3 assaults every week on your alts, you can buy 1 essence per week very easily. That's putting in minimal effort. You can actually buy a lot more than that, but if you want to keep your alt as an alt and not a second main, I think the assaults and horrific visions is already quite enough time put into them. Honestly, with the account-wide essence vendor, there isn't much of a grind left for essences. Just buy them as you get enough echoes and don't worry about it otherwise. Remember that you will need the rank 3 essence on at least one other character before you can buy it from Mother, or at least have an essence from the same source. You won't be able to buy an essence that you have 0 ties to on any character, so if you're just a smidge away from Revered on your main character with reputations that have essences, you might want to look into finishing that off. It will benefit all of your alts now too. But that's pretty much everything you need to get your alts caught up in patch 8.3. Are you leveling any alts with a huge experience bonus that we have right now? Are you going to get them up to 120 and wait for Shadowlands, or are you actually going to get them all caught up and start gearing them up properly as well? Leave all your thoughts in the comment section below. A big thank you to all of our supporters over on Patreon. You can see the names floating by on screen. If you want to join these lovely guys and gals, you can find a link in the description below. Remember to leave a like just below the video before you leave. If you want to see more, make sure to subscribe. But apart from that, thanks for watching folks, good luck and have fun, and as always I will see you next time.